meet the Barracuda X from Razer. It is a wireless gaming headset that is packed with features and a sub $100 price tag. Can it compete with companies like Logitech, SteelSeries, and HyperX, which already have products at this price point? Let's find out. First, let's go over the specs and Razer's marketing terms. They have Razer's, marketing term number 1, Triforce 40mm drivers, which is a pretty standard size for a headset at this price point. It matches what's found on the SteelSeries and HyperX, but smaller than the Logitech G6355's 50mm driver. Size isn't everything in this case, as quality of the driver tends to be more important. The best sounding headphones I've ever used have a 45mm driver. Now, these are over-ear cups, and they offer passive noise canceling. Of course, that just means that they block out a certain amount of noise from the outside rather than actively canceling it. Now, the padding on the ear cups is memory foam covered by a leatherette, and it's a pretty good size with a decent amount of give without being firm or overly soft. There is swivel in both directions and tilt to accommodate different head shapes. I found that these have an adequate amount of movement to get them sitting comfortably, but of course, your experience may vary. They also fold flat, something beneficial for when you want to use them on the go. The wireless connection is, marketing term number 2, hyperspeed, and that is via 2.4 gigahertz wireless rather than Bluetooth, and that's to reduce lag. The mic is a unidirectional cardioid, and that is detachable. We'll test this out later. Now, the Barracuda comes in at 250 grams, and I can say that it feels very light. Compared with my other wired headsets, this is the same-ish weight, which is a bonus because these are wireless, which means they include a battery. Now, that battery takes about 3 hours to fully charge, and that gets you an advertised 20 hours of usage, which I found was a little excessive. I never did a 20-hour straight session to test to see if it would last that long, but I would play for several hours at a time and had to charge them only after a few sessions. Now, I took these and the Asus ROG Delta S, which is double the price, with me on a week trip to Abu Dhabi. The Barracuda X found its way consistently onto my head throughout the trip, and still to this day, it is really comfortable. This is all personal preference, of course, so keep that in mind when you are listening to this or any review about headphones. I will say that the memory foam is soft and always stays pretty cool during long-term usage. The ear cups distributed the pressure pretty evenly around my ears, and overall the headset was tight enough to stay in place, but not tight enough to cause any discomfort. Now let's talk about 7.1, because it is mentioned on their website under the feature list. I plan on doing a more in-depth review of the different 7.1 surround software options out there, but the short of it is this does have 7.1 support when using Windows 10. That is, you can get virtual 7.1 surround when using one of the many different software options. The quality of the surround experience depends heavily on the encoding in the software and less so on the quality of the headphones, to some extent. If you want to see a more detailed video on that, let me know in the comments. The short of it is, yes, this does support 7.1, just like pretty much every other headphone out there. Now, let's talk about how it sounds. Now, I put these up against some pretty stiff competition. I have the Logitech Pro, which was the Pro VR. I used them for my Oculus Quest. That's a dedicated headset meant just for that. But it is their Pro lineup of gaming headsets. I also put on the ROG Delta S, as well as my control, what I use for editing my videos, which is the Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros. What I did was a 7.1 channel test so you could kind of get the feeling of a fully submersive game. I did some CSGO playing and some music listening. Now, I did this as well as my wife, and we came to a very clear conclusion that when it comes to the quality of the sound, just overall quality, the Beyerdynamics won, hands down. They were the best sounding. Now, between the Logitech Pros, the Delta S, and these, the Barracuda X, we really thought, honestly thought, that the Barracuda X won. It had the most complete sound, with a lot of good sounding lows that weren't distorted, and the highs weren't enough to be ear-piercing. In the case of the ROG Delta S, it was to a point where during certain scenes, especially when you had the full 7.1 surround going on, it was too much. You could not listen to it at the same volume. You'd have to turn it down because it was too tinny, too hurtful on those highs. Overall, between all of those headsets, not even including that this is the only one that's wireless, this one wins because of its complete full sound that it offers. And this was all done with no additional software tweaking, just plugging it in and listening to it as is. Now, I do not have the other offerings in this price point from SteelSeries. I do have the Arctis 7, and that does sound pretty good. They're about the same. I don't have anything from HyperX to try out, so I can't really speak for that headset. But overall, I am impressed with the audio on here, and I would recommend it for a good all-arounder. Now on to microphones. Microphones are always the weak part of gaming headsets, typically forcing gamers to switch to a dedicated USB mic if they want anything other than a garbled, staticky mess. So let's see if Razer can do something about that with their hyperclear, marketing term number 3, cardioid here.
Here's the microphone from the Barracuda X by Razer. The mute button for this mic is located on the left side of the headset. This is the microphone from the Logitech Pro VR headset. This is a similarly priced headset made for the Oculus Quest 2. Here is the microphone from the Asus ROG Delta S. This microphone uses AI to actively cancel out ambient sounds. And now back to the Barracuda X microphone. Which one do you think sounded best? Let me know in the comments below.
Alright, so as far as the microphones go, I would have to say that Asus ROG Delta S, it's a long name, the Delta S, that AI noise canceling is on par with the NVIDIA RTX Voice. I mean, it's not as good, of course, but it does help eliminate a lot of the ambient sounds that I have in this room. Now, having said that, the mic on the Barracuda X was pretty good. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it is pretty good. When you compare the Barracuda X and the Logitech Pro, I would have to say the Pro probably wins on that one. It is a little bit better. The various USB cables that come with this headset allow for connections to almost every platform. I say almost because for phones or tablets, only Android is supported over USB-C. On the bright side, Apple might be forced to join Android in this respect, so it's possible that this could work with those devices in the future. This also does not work wirelessly with Xbox, but can still function using the included 3.5mm cable. Although that kind of defeats the purpose of having a wireless headset. In the end, Razer has created a decent pair of headphones. Now, there's nothing that particularly stands out as far as features go. I mean, everything that's on here is found on pretty much all the other headsets in this price point. The sound is pretty decent, and it easily beats out headsets that are much more than this one. Now, if you only have an Xbox, well, you need to look elsewhere. But if you go between your PC, Switch, PS5, or Android devices, then this is a pretty tempting option. Other companies offer almost identical headsets, so it boils down to what is most comfortable on your head and better sounding in your ears. If possible, try out a bunch of different headsets before buying to find the one that suits you best. Now, thank you guys for watching, and if you're in Qatar, head to store 974 to pick up the Barracuda X or one of the many headset brands that they carry. If you do head there, or go to their website, don't forget to use code BartmansBits at checkout. That gives you a 3% discount on your purchase, and 3% will go to helping out this channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.